What's up, guys? Welcome back to Surfing Tips Saturday, number 4 or 5, 4. So, don't forget, this is where every week we answer your questions that you post in the comments of the video from the previous week. So if you want to see your question answered, put it in the comments right below. Don't forget, we love thumbs up.
Yes, so the questions you see down below will be answered in the next video. So if you notice that there's no answers to the questions below, that's because the answers will be in the next video.
And next week. And don't forget, we have the awesome Shaka shirts up for grabs. We'll throw a link into the video, so pick up your Shaka gear. So you guys have any other announcements? Oh, we just got back from the Caribbean side last week for the second event of the Costa Rica National Circuit. We're putting together a video right now. We've got like 500 video clips to go through and edit, so it'll be up very soon. But Lorenzo, really cool. We got to surf a really cool wave over there. Lorenzo did amazing, made it through the semifinals to juniors, which is a really tough division, and we just found out he got invited. He's one of 9 people to get invited in the entire country to try out for the Costa Rica national team. So he's getting ready for that, and that's going to be in 3 weeks up in Nosara right before our next contest, when they're going to have kind of like a 2-day tryout, surf off kind of deal.
If we can, we'll try to film the process of him going and trying out, just so you guys can see and keep you updated on that.
But he's really stoked. He's actually out surfing and training right now. So.
Getting up early.
Anything else? Good to go?
Nope, let's get to the questions.
All right. First question from Kurt Smith. Do you guys have any tips on catching your board after a wave or falling off? I want to avoid launching my board at people like a missile. Well, a couple things you can do. Kurt, you mentioned that you're in like a really busy beginner beach break, so there's lots of people around. I know it's not always easy to fall with control because obviously you're falling because you've lost control at some point. But I know that, like, especially where I have my bigger board and crowded beaches back home, I kind of try and fall, and I'll kind of try and fall towards my board. I hate to say that because you don't want to fall in front of your board, but I kind of try and fall almost on top of my board so I can grab it, and then I'll kind of plant my feet in the sand. Or the other method that I use is if I fall off and my board's going to launch out in front of me, I try not to fall backwards and launch it out. But if that does happen, for some reason, I try and grab my leash, my leg rope around my ankle, and then I'll pull it back so it stops the board from getting so far away from me. I don't know anything you guys use.
And also, like on a break like that, because in Hawaii where I grew up, there was a couple spots just like that where it comes right into the shore break, and if you surf it from out a little bit, next thing you know, you're in the shore break and there's a lot of people there. If you're a beginner, the kind of board you use, make sure you have a nose guard on your board. If it's a pointy board, they have those boards that are actually a lot of people use for like shore break surfing. What do you call them? Black ball beaters?
Call them black ball beaters in California, yeah.
I mean, it's good to have a board like that for that kind of a wave that you can take down there. You don't need to wear a leash. It'll just bounce off people and you can get lots of practice. Whereas if you have a standard short board with a sharp nose and really hard fins, you're going to constantly be worrying about it. It's going to affect your ability to practice.
Yeah, they're actually just foam boards with like kind of soft rubbery fins. And the reason they call them blackball beaters is because they get used in like California and places where they blackball the beaches where you can't surf between like 10 and 5 on hard surfboards. So people have designed these like performance surfboards that surf pretty well. They're pretty fun actually. Sure. And you can surf them on beaches that are blackballed to surfing. So that's what they call them that. So next question. Elijah the Stone. Would it be best to learn a cutback on a fast or slow board?
My opinion is, I think it's best to learn on a board not too much bigger than you. So if you're, say, 5'9", any board 5'9" to 6'2", 6'3". The bigger the board you go, the slower the cutback develops, the more you have to be on the back of the board, and the less success you're going to probably have about getting it all the way around. So if you really just want to practice really getting that staying on rail, I would say not too big.
Yeah. One thing Chris always says to our students is always turn with speed, especially a cutback, which is a term where you're putting your board on rail, which requires a lot of speed. It's definitely better to be going fast, and I think that's kind of the question you're asking. Not sure if you're talking about a big board versus a small board, because it's not to say that you can't do a cutback on a big board or a slow board. It just becomes more difficult. Like if you're going really slow, you're gonna fog the rail around.
Yeah. Also, a thruster is going to be easier. Quad fins are a lot harder to get cut back, especially if they're on a wider board. I find that a thruster, because it's got the middle fin and it acts more of a pivot, as long as you put your back foot back, you can really get in there. But on wide quad fins, a lot of times your tail will slide out or it feels kind of weird. So that's about all I have to say on that one.
That's all I got to say about that. All right, Kyle Wender. I have a 6.6 board. Do I need a tail pad? Do you need a tail pad? It's preference, really, whether you want a tail pad or not. Some people like ride shortboards forever and don't have them. I had like only like 5 shortboards in a row, like small boards, less than 6 feet, and never put a tail pad on them. That was just because I didn't have the money for them, and it didn't really make that much of a difference to me. And now I have them. I've had them on the last like 6 boards I've had. So for me, it's preference. I've even had them on longboards. I've not had them on longboards. It, you know, just kind of, it's personal, whether you want one or not, to me.
What about you, too? What do you think?
Do you always ride a tail pad?
Sometimes, but my other board doesn't have one.
Yeah.
What do you like? I would say that boards that you're going to have your foot, that you need it over the fin a lot. So shortboards. When you get to a bigger Malibu or longboard, you don't spend near as much time on the back fins because you're constantly up and back and forth. I would say that they're not as necessary, but on a shortboard, pretty much on the tail pad the whole time. I mean, you're on either the front of the tail pad or the back of the tail pad. Very rarely do you take your foot off. You know, unless you're like maybe.
Airs.
Yeah, but still though, when you're doing airs, it's nice to have the tail pad so you know where your foot has to go and you got that stopper.
And also, I think that like depends on what kind of surfing you're doing. I mean, if you're on a 6.6 and you're like riding the barrel, well, not really super important. I think like if you notice, like a lot of times, guys when we watch like the professional surfers or anything, they go to surf the barreling waves. You don't see a lot of tail pads on the boards because it's not so important. If you're, you know, more into performance surfing and you're, you know, turning and stuff like that, then yeah, it might be more important to you to have a tail pad.
That's kind of a beginner question. By the time you know how to do that kind of thing, you're going to know whether or not you need a tail pad.
I don't know. You might be really good at riding the barrel, and you just
professional surfer asking that question.
We get all kinds. I'm going to look you up now and see if you're a professional surfer. All right. So from Dylan Klink, hey, when I go for an air reverse, I keep over rotating. Do you have any tips? Well, first off, when you ask questions like that, it needs to be a little more specific because we can't see you doing it, and I have no idea what you mean by over-rotating. Are you landing fins first, and then when you go to spin it back around, are you falling backwards? Are you over-rotating in the air, so you're like spinning a 540 instead of a 360 on a full rotation? So we'll be a little more specific, and we will do our best to answer your question if you pop it in for the next week's question.
Or a video.
Video.
You get somebody to video you doing it, then we can
post it. You can post video responses to any one of our videos. And unless it's like a horrible lewd video of you like flashing us or something, we're going to approve it and put it on the channel. So
it could also mean that he's rotating without his surfboard, over rotating over his surfboard.
Could be very true. So Dylan, if you can get somebody to film you and you can get us a video and get us some more details, we will do our best to answer your question next week or in the following weeks. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, we kind of blasted through these questions today. The last question is from Jacob Leverstein. What is a good way to check from the beach where the waves are breaking good? Tua, you want to take this one? You've been quiet.
Yeah, when I go out, usually I'll like look the whole beach where I'm gonna surf and like see where the best waves breaking without it closing out. Even if I see some like on to the right, it's closing out a lot, I probably won't go over there. But to the left, it's good to the left breaking and feeling across the beach, and I'll go surf over there.
And I'm assuming you're kind of talking about beach breaks, where the waves are breaking all over the place. Obviously, if you're surfing at a reef or a point break, the waves usually break in one or a couple of places, so that's a little easier to pick up. Doesn't always mean like where all the surfers are at. Sometimes you go out and you see a pack of surfers and people are like, oh, that's the break, and they just paddle right out without paying attention or watching. And then you're in the middle of a crowded break that's not very good. I also find that the best waves on a beach break are usually directly in front of where the best looking girls on the beach are. So if like the best looking girls on the beach are way down here, usually the best waves, or at least the most surfers, are right in front of them. So that's for me is usually where I try and go. I look for the pack of college girls and I try and surf right in front of them and kind of show my tail feathers off a little bit. But that's just me.
Well, we just did a video on reading waves. That may help you out. So what we'll do is we'll add a link. It's the video right before this, or the last video we did, and that was a question somebody had asked. I believe, how do you? Somebody
waves.
asked it a long time ago. We never put a video, but
Yeah.
how do you read waves? How do you know where the peak is, left or right? So check out that video, and if you have more questions, ask us more.
Yeah, so that is all we have for this week. We appreciate all the questions, guys, all the thumbs up, all the shares, all the subscribers. So please keep sharing, keep subscribing. The more that you guys show us that you love us, the more we're going to do these videos and be happy to do them and be stoked. And oh, we actually had one more question. I didn't write it down. Somebody asked about us living in Costa Rica, if we live here full time, and you know, we do. So Chris, you want to start with that one?
Well, yes. Most of us here are living full time. Some of us stay here for the season and go back. Team Shaka, or us here, we live here full time. We got like Atua Keeley. He's been living here more than he's been on the States, so he speaks fluent Spanish. Say something in Spanish. Show him your fluency.
How are the waves today in Spanish?
No sé, porque no los revisé todavía.
He hasn't been done yet.
But yeah, and a lot of people are moving to Costa Rica. It's actually surprising to see a lot of people come stay here at Shaka and end up moving here.
We convert them.
Yes, we convert people. So if you don't want to quit your job and run away from your life, you probably shouldn't come and visit us here.
We will poison your brain
We do that.
with coconut water and cold beer and surfing.
Yep. So pretty much our whole staff is made up of converted people. Brent would be one of them. Megan, our yoga instructor, is one of them. We are all of us. So pretty much, yes, we love to live here. Life is good. We want to share it with you.
So, well, guys, that is it for this week. Again, thumbs up, comments, shares, likes, all that stuff. Really appreciate it.
Just click it. Just click. Thumbs up.
Real quick.
Takes you half a second. Click. There it is.
All right, guys, we
Right
will
on.
see you in 1 week.